internet issues. I went to that link. First, it gave that download it from the below link, service package link.
Okay.
I installed that
and
I gave the database
okay.
name. I gave all those stuff. And in next step, I went to next link I clicked, but it is saying after that execution file, you have to install that service pack 1 like that, or later version like that. It is giving pop-up.
Shobana, what I'm doing is I'm making you the presenter. You share a screen so that I will understand it better.
Okay, but if I, okay, just a minute.
Okay, so to install SQL Server 2008 on Windows 7, we actually need SQL Server 2008 Service Pack 1. So you downloaded, you were saying you did this.
Yeah, this one only, first link, yeah, I downloaded that. It's successful also.
Okay.
Next, I clicked this link, but again it is asking me to load install Service Pack 1.
Did you restart the machine after the first installation?
Yeah, I did that also.
Okay, can you do it now?
No, but it will take time, no? If I click this first link.
No, well, I'll just see what the error is and what the exact message is.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, I'm clicking then first link.
No, you have already downloaded, right? It is installed.
Yeah.
It is installed. This thing is installed, right?
Yeah.
The setup is already there. You don't have to download the setup.
Oh, okay, fine. Then.
Okay, so now the setup which is already downloaded, which you have already done, you just execute this one, SQL Express with tool 64 enu.exe. It will be in your download folder.
Yeah, right.
Right, SQL, right? Yeah.
Shall I click this?
Express, one second. Yeah, 64. Okay, so yours is 64-bit, right? Machine?
Yeah, you are asking me?
Okay. Yeah. Yours is 64-bit machine, right?
Oh, that we want to confirm. How can I confirm that?
Generally, it is 64. Okay, just double click here. It will be actually 64.
Okay.
So. One second. Yeah, click here, run program. Run program. Did you do this? Did you click on the run program or you just stop that message on that message?
No, I did that also.
You did that also, okay.
Yeah. Do you want to click anything now?
No. Let it happen. It is still extracting the files.
Okay.
It will take time, but I think it should happen actually. It should install.
Okay. Then it should come here, no?
Yeah, if it is successfully installed, yeah. But while installation, you have to choose this. In the instructions, there is that SQL Server Management Studio. That option also you have to check.
Oh, okay.
If you are not checking that option, then you won't be able to see this SQL Server Management Studio, even though your services, SQL Server services are installed.
Okay. Oh, that option, I didn't see those options.
If you want to see your,
that option should be there.
If you want to see if it's your 32 or 62-bit, go to my on computer, right from start, go and do a right click. Properties. Yeah, go and
right click the computer and select the properties.
Properties, yeah.
Okay.
Scroll down. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is
64 bit.
system
Yeah.
type is 64-bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Now, if you want to download the Management Studio, go to ASP.NET.
ASP.NET?
Yeah,
Where?
go to the site asp.net.com something. There is a website.
Tanvi send that link with the, in that link you are saying, or else
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Google
in
you are
that
saying?
link, in that link.
Oh, in that link, okay. Shall I click this link?
Yeah, just directly go to asp.net.
Which one you are saying?
No, no, no. Go to the browser and just type asp.net.
Oh, okay, fine. ASP.NEt.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, not this one. Wait.
See, Ravikant, what she has downloaded, it has Management Studio within it. She has downloaded SQL Server Express with tools. So that exe itself has the Management Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see the progress of your installation?
Yeah. But still it is extracting, no?
Can you maximize it? What is happening actually? Okay, it is still extracting files.
Yeah, it is like this.
Okay, let it happen. Shobana will start the class and
Yeah,
let it install on your machine. Okay, just let me know what is the status.
Okay, fine, sure. Yeah.
Can you guys see the screen? Okay, so the yesterday we did this tracing technique of logging the events and the errors. Today we are going to use another technique, which is Nlog.net. Did you guys install it? Nlog.net. Did you guys do the installation of this?
I didn't do it yesterday, but I'll do it today. Sorry, Tanvi.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay,
Tanvi,
so guys do it.
Tanvi, this is Subha here. I tried to do that. It says 404. There isn't a GitHub page here. And read the full documentation. It says so.
So you did not get the installation exe?
Yeah, for that, the nlog project.org download.html.
It is not there on this link? That's what
No.
you are saying?
Yeah, it says read the full documentation and it may take up to 10 minutes until your page is available, it says so.
So they have changed the link
I think so.
for the installation.
Yes. I just clicked the link what you sent us yesterday in the session 6.
So the link has been changed, that's all I think. We don't.
Okay.
So here's the link. Instead of, I think, what is that? Download.html. It is a download folder. Okay. Here it is.
Okay, but
you can see here Nlog 2.0.
Okay, 1 minute.
I am typing this link here in the chat.
Okay, got it.
It went all in. Okay. I've typed it here in the chat. Okay, this is the new link. They have moved the link. When I downloaded, then it was the link. This was the link that time.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, now. So here, which one we had to download it, Tanvi?
On the you can download Nlog 2.0. The latest one.
Oh, the recommended one. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You can see the supported frameworks, but I think 4.0 is supported with the 2.0. Even I also have 2.0.
Okay.
So you can download this one, Nlog 2.0. Here is the MSI file. This one.
Which? Oh, the
Okay.
first one. Right. Okay.
The first one. Okay, version 2.0 MSI file. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll start with Nlog. So this is another technique for logging exception. This is not inbuilt in ASP.NET. This is an open source. So you have to download it. When you download it, it will be automatically integrated in your Visual Studio. So in your Visual Studio, in your application, you will see within bin. Bin is a folder where you add third-party DLLs. Okay, DLL is nothing but the compiled code. Okay, so you will see there will be some files added like nlog.dll or maybe some data file also nlog.xml. Okay, so these two files you will see automatically integrated. But if it does not happen, then you can do it. Okay, then go to your bin folder and click on add reference and you can add the nlog. What you have to do is, if you install nlog, it happens by default that your nlog.dll you will see in the bin directory, in the solution explorer, the way you can see in my application. Okay, but even in some case it does not happen because I am not sure. Some student once said that it did not show up here. So what you can do is add reference explicitly. So on the bin, right click and click here, add reference. Okay, then browse through your nlog installation folder. Where did you install the nlog? And then respective to your framework, install the DLL. Okay. I don't know why my reference is not showing up anything. Okay, maybe I will have to reopen the application. So this is how you have to add. When you click on add reference, it will allow you to choose a file from your machine. So you have to choose the DLL from your nlog installation folder where you install the nlog. Getting it, guys?
Yes, Tanvi.
Okay. So you first check that it installed automatically or not. Then you can, if it is not, then you can install it. You can add it, the reference. Okay. Once you add the reference of nlog.dll or once the reference has been added automatically, when you click in the Solution Explorer, you click add new item. Okay. So when you see the templates like web.config and all these templates, you will find one more template, which will be typical nlog configuration file. Okay. This is configuration file for your nlog. Okay, how to use nlog, what configurations we are doing in the nlog will be in this file. We can write here in this file nlog.config. So we will have to add this file in our application. This is the second step after installation. Then you can open your file. Some code you will see which is automatically there or by default there. And generally that code is good enough for us to log our exception or events. Okay, but you can change the settings based on your need. Still, you will have to make sure that there is, when you right click on the file nlog.config and go to properties, there will be one option which will be copied to output S3. Okay, it is by default copy always, but you have to again make sure that it is copy always. If it is not so, then do this setting. Okay, when you do this setting, then only your logging will happen. Otherwise, it will not happen. Okay. Now, this is the kind of structure you will see on the nlog.config. So, ultimately, it's an XML file like our web.config file. It has some specific elements like targets, rules, which we use for logging exceptions or events, whatever we want to. Okay, so I'll read all these things, how we can log the sessions. Now you can see the main two things here will be, can you hear me, guys?
Yes, Tanvi.
Am I audible?
Yes, Tanvi.
Yeah.
Okay. It shows me some network problem. The prompted me some network problem. Okay. So if you will observe here, the main two things, this will be there XML, because this is the XML file. This will be the root element in your file, which is nlog, and what version you are using for that schema file. Then these are the main two things, target and rules. So target will define where you want to log, where we want to save our exception, where actually we want to do logging. It can be any file, it can be some network IP, it can be console, it can be database. Okay, so it will define where you want to log the exception or log the messages, and in which format you want to log the exception or messages. Okay, so where to log and how to log. These two things will be defined in the targets. So here you can see target name is file, any name you can give. Type is file, so your logging will be saved in a file, and this will be your log file. Okay, so in your base directory, in your root directory of the application, log.txt file, this will be the file where the events or the exceptions will be logged. Okay, then rules are which will set the routing mechanism for your exceptions or messages. So what you can do is, for example, logger name, this is the source name. So when you have star, it is like from all the sources, this is the level of your error. Okay, so for the error which has the minimum level of debug, so after debug, whatever kind of errors are will be returned to this target. This is the name of the target. So this is the name of the target which you are using here. Okay, so this is defining a rule for logging. So from all the sources means from anywhere from your application, from any class, if exception occurs and it is above debug level, it will be saved in this target. This is how the rule we have to write. We can write multiple rules, we can write multiple targets as well. Any question here? We'll go in detail with targets and rules, how to define them. Anyone, any question here? Okay, so this is what I just mentioned. Target defines where to write and how the log entry should look like. I mean the which format. So whenever we do log, we want some specific format like the date time when we log, the source from where the exception occurred, the message, the error message. So specific format. So that format also we can define using target. And rule define what level of information to be logged and in which target it will be logged. Okay. So those two things are fully configurable. You can configure as per your need. So other than these targets and rules, there are some more elements also, but mostly we'll be using this target and rules only. These are the most important ones. So target element defines the log targets and the outputs where the output will be saved of your logging. Rules is define the log routing rules where your log will be routed, in which target it will be routed to. Extensions is that we are reading here the basic nlog, but there are some few extensions available also. So with the extension we can include those nlog extensions. We can include some external configuration file. So in one application we can have multiple configuration file also, and in one file we can use target and rules which are defined in another file as well. So we can make use of include. This is generally used when you have a very complex project and when you really need to use multiple configuration file. Variable is you can define some variable also, and this variable can be used for setting your configuration or your configuration purpose. You can use that variable. So in the configuration file you can define some variables as well. First we'll see target. So targets is basically like collection of target element. So in targets you will see each item will be another target element. Okay, so targets collection, it can have multiple targets. In the target there are two main important things. One is the name, another one is the type. Okay, so you can give any name to the target. For example, I have F1, F2, N1, DS. Okay, and this is how you have to define the type of your target, which kind of target it is. So the first one is file, second one is also file, third one is the network, fourth one is the output debug string. One type which is allowed is database also and console also. So these are the different types which are allowed in configurations. Then when you are specifying type as file, so the another third attribute will be the name of the file. Okay, when you are specifying the type as the network, so third attribute is the address of that network. Okay, so these are different configuration which are possible in targets. Now rules. Rules you define in the rules element of your nlog.config file. In the rule, we have name. Name is the source class, name of the source class. Okay, from where the message is being logged or the exception is being logged. The name of the source. When you are writing asterisk in place of name, that means all the classes in the application. Okay, so any page can be source. Minimum level is the minimum log level which will be logged using this rule. Generally when we have errors in application, there are different levels of the errors. One is debug. So first is the trace level, we have debug level error, then we have info level error, we have warn error level, then we have this error level, and we have fatal. So these are the levels of error or information, not errors but the information. So trace level is when we generally record some events, detailed events. We want to log detailed information about the events. Debug is little less frequent and less detailed. Info is just for the information. Warning is just for the warning, that many times we come across the warning like this variable has been declared but never being used. So it has no harm on the application, but it is like a warning. Error is the actual error, like this is the SQL exception occurred, divide by 0 exception occurred, file not found exception occurred. So that is like error level. Fatal is again like error, but when you correct the error, you can continue working with the application, but after fatal kind of error, the application stops. Generally, fatal error is which stops the complete application, makes it down. So these are the different level of errors. So you can set your rules based on the error level. So minimum level, when you set something as min level, that is minimum log level will be routed based on this rule. When you are defining next level, so this is the maximum log level which will follow this rule. Okay, or you can just specify a single log level in a rule. So you can define only debug level error will follow this specific rule, or you can set multiple levels, let debug comma separated, debug and trace will follow this rule. Okay, and then error and fatal will follow this rule. Okay, so levels, this will be written in levels. Write to is the name of the target. You have already specified target. Now in the write to, you will specify the name of the target. Okay, so once your rule matches, then it will be logged using that rule in that target. Final is you can make some rule final with the final keyword. That means if there are further rules applied, it will not be processed. Even though you are setting it in the configuration, But once your rule is final, it will not follow any other rule. That will be the final. Okay, no other rule will be processed once you match with the final rule. Any question here? Anyone, any question, any doubt? Shall I move on?
No, how can we use this in our project? So like we have to set everything.
That we will do now. Shubha will do. After a little bit theory, I will show you how to use it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. So these are the different rules defined in the configuration file. So you can see the first is namespace.class1. So if some message is from class 1 or some error is from class 1 and the minimum level, it is above debug level, debug or above that, so it will be returned to the target F1. Okay. Now from the same class 1, if some errors are of debug and error level only, so it will be returned to F1. Now if some error is at level fatal, it will not be returned to this target. Okay, because it is not matching the rule. Okay, only debug and error level messages, and that only from class 1 will be returned to F1. And in the third one, you can see specific namespace and all the classes without following any error level will be returned to these two targets. So you can specify more than one targets. So the same message will be returned to the F3 target and F4 target also. These are the log levels which you can use to make your rules, and it describes the severity of your error, how severe your error is. So trace is like a detailed log message which is generally for events. So events are continuously happening. So it is very frequent. So volume of trace messages are frequent and it is more detailed. Debug is which is less detailed and less frequent debugging messages. Info is any informational message like the data connection was successful, connection is closed, these kind of messages. Warning is warning messages. Error messages and fatal is error messages which are at the fatal level. So generally after fatal error your application stops working. So these are the different level of your logs. Okay. Now if you want to include some file or some configuration file, how you can include is through the include element. Okay. So include file, which file you want to include. So this is, we call them the layout renderer. Layout renderer is this $dir is basically the path to your root directory. Okay. So your root directory, let's say C, some folder name. So this is the root directory of the application. Then machine name. Let's say Tanvi is the machine name. And in that machine name, tanvi.config. Okay. So this is the file name which you can, this is how you can use the file name. If you can use the hard-coded file name also like this, put an entire path and like this. But generally, we don't want to make it hard-coded. So these are layout renders which we use. So with the include element, you can include some third-party configuration file. It's not the third-party, the different configuration file. Okay, but it is not third-party. It will be in your application. It has to be present in your application. If you want to declare some variable so that you can use them in some complex rules or some complex layouts, you can use a variable element, and variable will have two things, name and the value. Okay, now you can see layout and layout renders. With the target, you can set how your log will be saved, in what format it will be saved, or in what layout it will be saved. by default it has some specific layout, but you can define your own also. So here in the target element you can see this is the type which we already discussed. So it is console. So your messages will be displayed on the console. Now you can see one extra thing here which is layout. So this is the format in which your messages will be logged. So first is long date, is gives the date time. Call site, the source file, level of your error, and the message, error message. Okay, so this is how in this format your messages will be logged. Okay, and these types are layout renderers. These are the layout renderers. Okay, so if you want to save some message in the console or anywhere in specific format, so we can make use of the layout. For example, here we want first the current date and time, then name of the source class, then log level, and then the actual message. So we can make our layout using these layout renderers. Another, what is the use of variable? So that you can use it somewhere in your configurations. So for example, here I am defining a variable which with the name log directory. Okay, now this has this value, root directory or base directory / logs folder and / date. So this is the log directory. Okay, now whatever files I want to make the target, I want to save in this specific path. Okay, so instead of again and again writing this entire path, what I am using is variable. So here I am defining a target, and you can see here we are using a name of the variable. Okay, so ultimately it is this value. So your file will be saved in this path, base directory / logs folder / the folder with the date time. Okay, then you will save the file 1.txt. So the variable we are using for the complex configuration. If you want to write complex configuration and we don't want to repeat this complex configuration again and again, so we can make use of the variables. Okay, so variables also we are using them as layout renders. How we use the layout render? With the dollar and in the curly braces. So layout render, and the same way we are using the variable. Are you getting it, guys? Any problem? Any question? Anyone? Can you hear me, guys? Are you there? Okay. Okay, so let's do an example.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's say from this page, here in this page, if some exception occurs or something happens, or some messages we want to log using the Nlog framework. Okay, so nlog.dll is already added in my application. In the bin you can see the reference of it. Here I will include the namespace nlog using nlog. Okay. Now the first step is create the logger object, and this is how you create the logger object. Okay, so you will have to call get current class logger method of the log manager class. Okay, and it returns you the object of logger class, which is present here in the nlog namespace. Okay, once you get hold of this logger object, then you can do logging as you want. Now first I will show you my nlog.config file. This is the nlog.config file, and I have kept the default configuration. So default configurations, the target type is file, so it will be saved in the file, which will be the log.txt file, and it will be residing here in the root directory. base directory. Okay, and these are the rules from any class, any message. Minimum level is debug, and that is the minimum level, and above that level will be returned to this target. So these are the rules defined in my application in the configuration file. Now this logging which I am doing here, this we generally do in the exception handling, either in catch block or page error event or application error event. But here just for the demonstration I am logging something in the page load itself. Okay, so I am using the info method, that is info method, warn method, fatal method. Okay, so whatever your messages becomes this level. Or what you can do is you can use log. Log will give you flexibility to describe level to your error level of your message. So log level, not error. So this message is of error level. Okay, you can see in the constructor. You can pass the object here also, exception object. Here I am just passing the some message. Okay, so these few constructors you can see. The basic one which we use is the define the error level and define the exception object, pass the exception object or pass the message. Okay, execute this. And I have not defined any layout renderer, so it will use the default layout. So come here, the logger object is already created. I am calling the info method, then warn, fatal, and log. Okay, so these messages have been logged in root directory, application root directory, and in log.txt file. If that file is not there, it will automatically recreate the file, and if it is already there, it will embed our messages within the file, within the existing file. This is my root folder, and this is the file. You can see the modified date time is the current date time right now, and this is what I just executed. So first message, and this is the layout format, the default one if I am not setting. So date time, level, the class. You can see the class is Nlogger, source class, and the message. Okay. From here to here. Getting it, guys? If you don't have this file, it will create it. Deleting this and re-execute it. So this file is created now. If you already have with this name, so it will embed within that file. Is that clear? Clear, Shubha, how to use it?
Oh, okay, Tanvi. And in Nlog config, did you change any code there?
No, I have not changed any code.
The
basic configurations are good enough, yeah. But you can change the file, the path, name of the file. Okay. And when you are working, this is the web application, so we generally want to log in the file. But if you are developing only your C# program, like in the beginning we did with the C# Express, so that time you can choose the type as console. You will see the messages also in the console.
Console, okay.
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 So this thing which
bin directory, the nlog.config is in the bin directory or in the web config?
No, it is in the root folder. It is in the root folder, not in the bin. Nlog DLL will be in the bin.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Okay. Nlog.config will be in the root.
Okay, it's in the root folder. Okay.
Okay. Another thing I will just mention here, which the code, this is how you don't code actually. practically. I am doing just for the demonstration. Generally, logging will be done on the exception handling. So we'll do it in the catch when some exception occurs or page error, not on the page load. Okay?
Not on the page load?
Yeah, not on the page load. Why do you want to do it on the page load? I'm just doing for the demonstration. In the page load, if you have some code which you want to handle, the exception handling, then within the try catch you can do so.
Okay, that means the logger is supposed to be in the catch block or in the final block?
Yeah, it is supposed to be in the catch block or in the page error event.
Okay.
Okay, see there are two places generally we use to catch the exceptions. So one is the catch block, okay, which is at the block level. So there also you can use this method to log an exception or in the page error.
Okay, or in the page error.
Right?
Okay.
Yesterday we used this trace technique. So where we use the trace? In the page error or in the catch.
Yeah.
So same is true with this, but it is different. In trace is not creating a physical file, but it is creating a physical file.
Okay, so here it is making physical file. Okay.
Yeah, and trace is not configurable. Okay, there are only few settings. Okay, but it is very much configurable based on your need.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, got it. Thanks, Tanvi.
Anyone else? Any other question? Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is just how it is logging your messages or exception in the text file. So we are using nlog.config file, but whatever configurations we are doing in that configuration file can be done programmatically also. So we can do those configurations within the class in the code behind file. So first is we have to create this logging configuration object of this class. Then we have to create the object of target, set the properties for the target. Okay. Then to define logging rules, we have to create the object of logging rule class and add it to the logging rules collection. Okay. So, and then we have to activate these configurations by assigning our configuration object to this object, this property, log manager.configuration property. So from this is how you can do the configurations programmatically, not from the config file. I'll show you how. Now you can see here, I want to do configurations but from code behind, not from the XML file. So create, okay, another thing, for this you will have to include these namespaces, targets, config, and actually this is not needed. The targets and config and log. Okay, these namespaces we have to include. Now first is create the object of logging configuration. Okay. Then you have to create the target. Now which target? Now let's say I want to create one target as console and another one is the file target. So one is in the console also we have two, the normal console target and colored console target. So I'm using colored console target and create the object of this and add it to the configuration targets. Okay, so this is the configuration object, the method add target. You can name your target and then pass the object. So one target has been created. The way we did in nlog.config, like this. This is the name and this is the type. Okay. The same as we are doing here. So this is the name and this is the type. Okay. Second target I am creating is the file target. So this is the file is name and this is the file type and adding it to the config object. Okay. Now with the target, we may want to set properties also. So one is layout. This is how we set the layouts through the layout renders. Okay. So for the console target, this is the layout. For the file target, I am setting the file name. So this will be, this is the same thing which is here with the file target, the file name. This is the property which we are taking. through the code. Okay, so file name is this in the base directory file.txt. Okay, and layout is just I'm using just the message, no date time, no class, only the message. Okay, so file target is this layout. So you have set the properties for the target. Okay, now the next is we have to define the rules. Okay, so rule is each rule is object of logging rule class. So we are creating a new rule. Okay, so this is the source, the level, minimum level, and which target it will be returned to. Okay, so rule 1 is created here, which will be returned to console, and rule 2 is created here, which will be returned to file. Okay, add these rule objects in the config, logging configs, logging rules collection. Okay, now just set the log manager's configuration property with this config object which we have created. Okay, now create the logger object. The similar way you can create the logger object as we did in the previous example, or this is another thing, get logger, same thing. With this logger, now you can use the methods as we used in the previous example. Now they will use the targets defined here and rules defined here. Okay, the only thing is we are doing them programmatically. Again, it is the same thing. Getting it, guys? Is this clear?
Yes, Tanvi.
So I'll just execute it.
The same. This is also in the either in the catch block or in the page error.
Yes, very true.
Okay.
Now this time the target name, file name is file.txt. You will see there will be another file created, file.txt. Okay, and these are the messages which we logged. Okay, and you can see the difference because we changed the layout. So we just use the message layout render. So this file only has messages. Okay. So this is your choice as a developer, whatever technique you find more comfortable with. Ultimately, the exception logging technique is meant for developers, not for the users. So whatever technique you are comfortable in, you can use the technique in your application. So the ultimate idea is you should be able to know what kind of exceptions are occurring in the application, what date and time it is occurring, from which files it is occurring. Okay, so these are the main requirements. So it depends on you which technique you like and you use. Okay, anyone, any question, any other doubt? Okay, so this topic is done exception handling. So we'll conclude with summary points, whatever we have covered in exception handling. It provides a way to deal with unusual occurrence in the program or in the logic of the program. Exception handling blocks use try, catch, finally. Catch exceptions, for one try we can have multiple catch, and that we have to add from the most specific to most general. In this order we have to add, or otherwise it will not take it. It will be a compile time error. Throw keyword is used to deliberately cause an exception. Error events also can handle exception at object level. It can be page error, which will handle exception at the page object level. It can be application error, which will handle the exception at the application level. To get hold of the exception in error events, we can use get last error method of the server object. So it will fetch you the exception object which last occurred on the server. You can use clear error to clear the error and redisplay the page. Error pages, you can use custom error pages to handle the exceptions that occur generally outside of the web application because of some outside environmental problem like internet related problems, server down, 404 error, bad request errors. So for those we use the custom error pages. We can monitor our exceptions which are handled in the application by logging them. We can use technique, tracing technique, Nlog technique. There are other techniques also. but we have discussed tracing and nlog. So trace we can use write and warn method, and nlog we just discussed. So these are the things which we have done in the exception handling. So we'll start with the new topic. Anyone, any question here regarding exception handling? So now you guys know all the exception handling techniques, all the logging techniques. So now when you are developing the project which we discussed yesterday, so wherever possible, use the exception handling, okay, and use all the methods. And for the logging, whatever you guys are comfortable in, can use that method, okay. But use the exception handling, implement the exception handling in the project. Okay. So guys, we'll start with the new topic. Give me a minute, I'll be back. Okay, so now we'll start with in this we'll cover cookies first and then web services. So we have discussed a little bit about cookies. Anyone, what is a cookie? And why do we need a cookie? Ravikant?
Tanvi.
What is a cookie?
Cookie is something which stores the session information of a user.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else about it? Anyone? Used to store the information in the client side. Okay. Okay. So okay, that's right. Mostly on the client side, yeah. So cookies are generally cookies are actually if you will see cookies, it is a text file, okay, which is stored either on the client's hard disk or in the browser. Okay, and generally cookies are being used for small amount of information and which is related to client. So many times we want to maintain the session. So when user requests something from the server for the first time, server creates a cookie in which keeps a session ID, and the browser will save that session ID as a cookie in the form of cookie in the client machine. So next time when user requests some application, the session ID will be passed from that cookie, and server will come to know it is the same session or a different session. Okay. So session management, other than this, username and password also can be saved in the cookie. So many times when we do this remember password checkbox on the many websites, it saves the cookie with the password, definitely in the encrypted format, but it saves the password on the client machine. So it is used for the state management. So it is one of different ways to store data about website visitors. There are other methods also which we can use. Common use of cookie is to maintain session or remember user between visits. So first time user requested and enter password and click check here remember password. Next time through cookie user will be remembered. Okay, so when cookie has been saved on the machine, next time on next request it will be fetched from the machine, and with the request it will be sent on the server, and server will get the password. So user doesn't have to re-enter the password, or it is maintaining the session. So practically it is a small text file which is sent by the server first and sent to the browser, which saves it on the client machine. It can be accessed at both sides, at the client also through JavaScript, and it can be accessed at the server side as well. The cookie, just one issue with using cookie as a state management is the browser, old browser may not support cookies, or some browser may disable cookies. So some browsers may have been configured so that it will not accept cookie. Okay, so many users who uses browsers and uses different applications, view different applications, doesn't think that it is a good way to let some other application save something on your machine. They don't find it very secure or good way, so they can turn off the cookies or disable the cookies. And another issue with the cookies, as it is a text, clients can open the cookie and see the content of the cookie. Okay, so generally we don't save the confidential information directly there, but we can encrypt the information and save it. This is how the primarily cookie is being used for the state management or the session management. So this is the client which is making a request to the server for the first time for some application. So sorry, this is not the first request. This is the cookies. Okay, this is the first request. So first time client is making some request to the server. Server with the response, server is generating session ID. Now how that session ID is generated in ASP.NET, it is by default. It is handled by the framework. So session ID is generated and it is passed to the browser and saved at the client machine. Okay, so session ID cookie is there on the client machine. At the next request or the further request, with the request, whatever client is going to send to the server, the cookie of session ID is passed. Okay, that is how server is maintaining the session. Okay, to maintain the session, with the request we need a session ID. So again, the request is with the same session ID. That means it is the same session. Otherwise, it is the different session. Any question here? Is it clear so far? Okay, let's move on. Cookie is we are using to store user related information on client's computer. Generally, we are saving the user's preference. By default, cookie expires when session ends. Okay, this is the default one. But you can set the expiration property of a cookie also. So cookie object.expires you can set. And if you want that your cookie should never expire, okay, it should be forever on the machine, on the client machine. So what you can do is you can set the expires property with the datetime.max value. Okay, so your cookie object expires property, you can set datetime.max value, so it will never expire. Expire means when cookie is expired, it is deleted from the machine. Okay, so it will never be deleted. Cookies names are case sensitive. Now, in a single cookie, we can save up to 4096 bit. So that is a small amount of data. So generally, we save small amount of data in the cookies. That is the restriction in the cookies. So the example of cookie is whenever we browse through many applications, we see advertisements. Sometimes on the top, sometimes in the left sidebar, sometimes in the right sidebar, or many times in the footer also. So that advertisement is always different. When I access, I may see some advertisement of, let's say, Flipkart. When you are accessing, you can see some other companies. It is rendered based on the cookies which are saved by Google site as a preference choice in your machine. So Google figure out this is what you generally like and generally browse through on the internet. So it saves as in the form of a cookie, and whenever you are visiting application, that information is retrieved from the cookie, and based on that it renders the ad. So everyone doesn't see the same ad, but it renders the different ads based on the different cookies which are saved on the machine. In ASP.NET, we have two options of cookies. One is the persistent cookie. Persistent cookie is like a permanent cookie, which are stored on the client hard drive until they expire. So with persistent cookie, it is must to set an expiration property. Or to set an expiration, and that property we set some date. So definitely, if you want some cookie to be persistent, you will have to set the expires property. Okay. If we are not setting some expiration property, that cookie is non-persistent cookie automatically. Okay. And that cookie is stored in the browser's memory, not on the hard drive. Okay. Our browsers also have memory to store something. So in the browser memory, that non-persistent cookie is inside, and the cookie which we don't set the expiration property. Is it clear, guys? Any question so far? Each browser uses the different folder to save the cookie. For if you are using IE, the folder may be different in your hard drive where the cookies are saved. If you are using Chrome, the folder will be different where the cookies are saved. Okay, it depends on the browser settings. Ultimately, browser is doing this thing of saving the cookie. Okay, this is what we just discussed. So cookies are just plain text. So the best practice is we should not save some confidential or sensitive information without encryption. So if whenever we are using remember me option on the websites, we should encrypt the password before saving it in the cookie. Generally, cookies are for user related information like when last the user logged in, what site color is user's choice, what is users like, and other things. Okay, so these are the user related information which we generally save in the cookie. So this is the general thing about the cookie, general information about the cookie, what cookie is and what do we need to do with the cookie, why do we need actually the cookie. Now what it is programmatically. So programmatically in ASP.NET, cookie is an object of HTTP cookie class. This class is in this namespace system.app. When you create the object, you will have these properties associated with the object. Domain. Okay. So whenever you see, generally cookies are set domain wise. Okay. Gmail.com will save another one cookie. Facebook.com will save another cookie. So those are specific to the domains. Okay. So it is domain property is to get or set the domain associated with the cookie. Okay. So it is used to limit the usage of cookie only to that domain, or subdomain. Okay. Expires is when the cookie will be expired or when it will be deleted. So when the expire property expired time is over, expire time limit is over, then the browser will delete that cookie from the machine. Okay. So maximum lifetime of cookie is this. Hash keys is under one name we can save multiple cookies. So let's say I have a cookie name user info. Okay. So under that one name, the name of the cookie is this, but I can save multiple key and value pairs like user info ID, password, name. Okay. It can be done or it cannot be done. It depends on you. So but if you are using this thing, like under one name you are using multiple information, so that is the pair of key and value. So if you are doing this, that is has keys, true and false, if it has keys or not, if it has key and value pair or not. Okay, or you are just saving a single value in the cookie. So you can just save a single value or multiple key value pair. HTTP only decide your cookie can be accessible at client side or at server side. Okay, so if the value is true, it is accessible only at server side. Okay. Name is the name of the cookie. Path is where this cookie's scope is, where you are limiting the scope of the cookie. Okay. So generally the path property is a subdomain. So within the domain, if you have subdomain, you can set the path as the property. Okay. So it will limit the use of cookie to that specific path or URL. Okay, which is generally used in case of subdomains. Okay. Secure is cookies are transmitted. We need to transmit them from the client to the server or when creating from the server to the client. So for the transmission, if you are using secure way or a normal HTTP. So basically if you are using HTTPS or a normal HTTP. Okay. The value is the value of a cookie, and values is if hash keys is true, that means you are saving multiple values. So in that case, you can retrieve those values from the values collection. Okay. So values is to set the key and value pair for a single cookie. These are the different properties associated with the cookie object. Anyone, any question here? Any doubt? Okay, so we'll move on. As we know that we are using cookies to identify user between visits. So what is the first thing is we can ask user to identify him always username and password without cookie approach. Second is we can save the user information in the form of a cookie on the client machine. This is the second approach where we will remember user with the help of cookie. The third approach is in which the actual information of user is saved on the server, not on the client machine. Okay, let's say the username and password, it is still saved on the server, but unique ID of that information is saved on the client machine in the form of a cookie. Okay, so ID is saved here respective to this record which is actually saved on the server. So one method is where we are directly saving the user information on the client machine. Second method is we are not saving the user information directly on the client machine, but respective to the information we are saving some identity key on the client machine in the form of cookie, but the actual information is saved on the server. It can be saved on a database server or can be saved in the XML file wherever, but the actual data is saved on the server side, not on the client side. Okay, because many applications can think that is not a good approach, because even though it is encrypted, even though we are saving the encrypted data, but still it is not good to save the user password on the client side. Okay, but still they want to remember the user between users. They don't want user to re-enter the password. So this approach can be used, second approach, where the ID will be stored in the cookie, but the actual information related to that ID is still on the server. It is not directly exposed as in the form of a cookie on the client.
So it is similar to like auto refill. So in the Google Chrome, if just we enter the first name, then it is refill everything like the address and the phone number, everything. It is filled automatically. So
yeah, this can be done using cookies, but I'm sure they must not be doing this with the cookies. It can be done. This thing can be done with the cookies.
Okay, and in the ID case, the size is not 4096, is it? Or the same 4096 bit can store in the cookie?
Yeah, it can store till 4096 bit only.
Okay.
Okay. Any cookie you can save information till that only. That is the restriction.
Okay.
Okay. But what you said, yeah, that can be achieved with the usage of cookie.
Cookie, okay. The auto refill is similar.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll see, the first is asking user to enter username and password, doesn't use cookies. So we'll see the second and third method. So first we'll see the second method. So we are saving the actual information in the cookie. So first is we have to check whether the client supports cookies, the browser supports cookie or not. So we'll use the browser of this cookies property. If it supports, then we will fetch the cookie from the request collection. Okay, we'll check whether the cookie exists or not. If it exists, then we'll fetch it. If it does not exist, so we'll create the cookie. So creating the cookie will be creating the object of HTTP cookie class, and we'll set the values, set the properties, and the properties which we can set is the name, value, and the expiration. So if you want the persistent cookie, we'll set the expire property. Then that cookie will be added to the response objects cookies collection. Okay, this is the first approach. I think we have done this example already. Let's do it again, no problem. Okay. So here on the page load, I'm saving some cookie in the machine, on the client machine. So first is check the cookie exists or not, request.browser.cookies. Then I want to save the cookie with this name. Okay. So I will check if with this name some cookie exists or not. If it is null, that means it does not exist. Then create a cookie object. In the constructor, I am passing the name and the value. Okay. So basically, I want to save when user last visited this page. Okay. So I am saving the current date time as the value of the cookie last time visit, setting the expiration property for a day, and adding this cookie to the cookie collection. Okay. Else, if it is not null, that means this cookie exists. If this cookie exists, fetch it using the request object cookies collection. So it will give you the object of the HTTP cookie, and once you get hold of this object, you can access the properties. So you can access the value. So here is the value. You can update the value. You can update the expiration. Okay. So let's execute this. So it is null, it does not exist. This cookie does not exist. Let me create a new cookie object with the name is this, and this is the value, which is the date time, and edit it to the collection. You can check your client machine, machine, that cookie will be saved on your machine, or you can see it in the browser settings also. Now again request this page. Now this time it is not null, it already exists because we just created it. So we are retrieving the cookie. Now you can see this object has been retrieved back. Okay. And we are changing the value and the expiration property. Okay. This is how we can save any information in the cookie. For this, in this example, we are saving the when the user last visited. That information we are saving in the cookie. Is it clear, guys? Any question? Is it clear, Shubha? Is it clear?
Yes, Tanvi.
Okay. Shobana, what is the status of your your installation?
Yeah, just a minute. Still it is like that only.
The same window you are able to see extracting files?
No, actually,
Yeah.
Shobana, the run is hiding behind some of your screen, I think. Maybe go and check that one first.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
What you are saying? Okay,
actually,
yeah.
You have to click the run before,
Yeah.
So that's what up there.
Yeah, now it is asking, do you want to allow the program to make change this computer? Shall I give yes?
Yes. Share your screen, Shobana.
Yeah, sure. Now do I want to click anything in this?
Go to installation tab. Installation after planning.
The very first one.
The first one, yeah, new SQL Server. Okay. Click OK.
Click install.
Oh wait, yeah.
Cancel. Okay.
No, hold on.
Okay.
Let it happen. Yeah. What happened? Again, we see the same screen.
Yeah, then when I installed that one, so it is like that. So you have to click
Okay,
the next.
go next.
Just a minute.
Go next. Yeah. Select. Go back. Select this first thing. Do you have to select it? No, these are the features. Okay. SQL Express instance name. Okay, go next. Yeah, next. Yeah, accept. Yeah, wait. Select this management tools, shared features.
Okay, I think
Check this one.
Okay, I didn't check this one. I checked these two.
Even
okay.
Services also. Even do services also.
Yeah, I did the select all one. So that means
Yeah.
the date.
Yeah, select all. Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, then there I did the mistake.
You did not select that management tools.
Yeah, I didn't select the management tools.
Named instance. Yeah, right. SQL Express. Next. It will say name in use. You will have to choose a new name. SQL Express 1. Just remember this, that you are writing SQL Express 1. Yeah, next. Okay, from here you have to click here on the account name.
This is database name?
No, account name. Is it not prompting something like NT authority? Double click here on the account name.
Yeah.
Yeah, select this NT authority system. Okay, use the same account for, yeah, that's okay. And click here to use the same account for all the SQL services. Click this button. Down. Use the same account for all the SQL services. No, Shobana, above this. Yeah, this button.
Okay.
And yeah, system 1. Okay. Yeah. SQL Server browser, account name, local service. Okay, I think it doesn't matter. Okay, click next. Database engine is NT authority.
This is all disabled only?
That's okay, yeah, that's okay, I think.
Okay. Windows authentication.
Yeah, let it be in Windows authentication. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Add current user. Click on add current user.
Okay.
Wait a minute, it should come here. Okay. So this is the user, your current user, right?
Yeah.
Okay, click next. Yeah, that's fine. Next. Again, next. Install. Yeah. Okay, so we'll continue with the class, Shobana. I think it will happen now.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Okay, so next is, in the same method, we can save a multiple information under a single cookie name, and that information we can save in the form of keys and value pairs. We'll see the same example. Here I have different text boxes for first name, last name, street, city, state, zip. On the save, under the same cookie, I will save these multiple information, and on the get, will retrieve the information back into the controls. Okay, so here you can see on the save, create a cookie object, give a name. Okay, so name is this. Now with this object, what you are doing is keys and value pair. So key, first name key. This is the same cookie. Key is the first name, and this is the value. Okay, from your text box. This is the key and the value. This is how under single cookie name, which is user info 1, you can key, different key and value pairs. Okay, then same thing, set the expires property of the cookie object. Okay, and add this to the cookies collection. This is we are doing on the save. Okay, on the save, we created a cookie object, and we are saving key neighbors and adding this cookie to the collection. You can read this cookie. You can see the cookie in the Chrome. So with this domain localhost, we have these cookies. User info 1. Okay, so this is the cookie. You can see the name is 1, and this is what we just saved in the cookie. So key and value, then ampersand, another key value, and this is the domain associated with. The path is the root. Okay, we don't have the subdomain or subfolder here. And expires property is this. We set it the 1-day expiration. Okay, is that clear, guys? So within a single cookie, we are saving multiple data in form of key and value pair. Okay. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay, now next method is setting user information on the server. So in this method, what we will have to do is, first we have to store information on the server. Server can be anything. You can save information in your database server in a table. You can use XML, whatever, wherever you want, you can save your information. Now you'll have to create a unique key to identify that user. So in a database, if you have a user ID, password, so you will have to use some unique ID key. Or even your user ID can be unique also, but we generally add a new unique ID. Now with that ID, you will create a cookie. So you will create a cookie object, and the value of that cookie will be ID of that record, and that will be saved on the client machine. Okay, so we are saving the user information on the server and using the unique key as an index. So when you will retrieve the information from the client machine, you will retrieve the ID, and from that ID, you will retrieve the information from the server. So actually, the data of the client is not stored, but the ID is stored on the server. Okay, so you can use anything. Now here I am using the XML way to save the data, because database we already know area.net and how to fetch the data from the area.net. I am using XML file, so we will be able to communicate even with the XML file also. So with this example, we'll even learn how to fetch and store something in the XML file as well. Okay. So again, I'm mentioning it, you can save your data anywhere, but only this example, I'm saving it in the XML file. Okay. So we open that file. Let's say I'm using this file. Okay, this has multiple. Okay, let me remove these things. I'm just keeping a single record there. Other thing I'm removing. So these are the tags of your choice. You can give whatever elements you want. This is a normal XML file. It is not using any schema. Like in the add rotator also, we used XML file, but we had to give specific tags. Okay, add tag image URL because it was using some schema. This is not using it. You can give any element name, whatever of your choice. So new data set is like a database. User is like a table. And first name, last name, street, city, state, zip, and ID. These are like columns in the table. Okay. Now when the user requests for the first time, we will save the information here, generate an ID, and that ID will save in the cookie. Okay, this is what we want to do with this thing. So this is the XML file. Next is, after this XML file, you will have to generate XML schema also. So those who are using the Express Edition, when the XML file is open, you will see the XML menu item in your menu, and you will see that there will be an option of generate schema under that XML. Okay, but those who are using the Express Edition, that option is not there to generate the XML schema. But there are many tools available to generate the XML schema. For example, this is an online tool where you can generate the XML schema for your XML file. This is what I use generally. So when you want to generate your XML schema, copy your XML and get the schema for your file. The schema file is XSD extension. So this is the schema of your XML file. Okay, this retrieves the schema of the XML file and save it in some file. If you are generating automatically from Visual Studio, it will automatically save in the file. But here, if you are generating through some other tool, so create a file with the extension XSD and save this code there. Okay, you can see the similar kind of code or exactly the same code. Okay, then you will have to define unique key. Okay, so each record has unique key, and which is the ID element of this XML file. So this ID element we have to make as the unique key is table. We are treating it as a table. Okay, and this is how you can make it. You can create a key with this access key, and this is you will have to write in your schema file. Name of the key, any name you can give. Okay, the path, selector path, X path, and the field ID. Okay, so dot is the current and this is the field ID. So this becomes the unique key or key of this table. Are you guys getting it? Are these two things clear, how to create XML file and the schema of the XML file? Is it clear? Schema is like when you design a table in the database. So what you do is you have the schema that student name, the type is varchar. So it is a schema that name is of varchar type. Okay, this is the schema of the file, XML file. Okay, now we'll see how we are communicating with this file to save the ID key there and actually the other information as well. Name of the example, EXM cookie. In real time, when do we use XML schema? Whenever you have XML file and you want to read data from that XML file, then you use the XML schema. When you want to read data, actually you can read data without schema also. But if you want to read data based on some ID, like a unique key, based on some constraints, then you will need the XML schema. But if we are just reading data without any constraints, then you don't have to actually create the schema. But here in this example, we will need to read the data based on some unique key. So we need schema here. Okay. The same thing, I have different text boxes. On submit button, click what actually I want to, this information I want to save in the XML file on the server, right? And that unique key which we will generate will save on the client machine in the form of cookie. This is what we are doing. We'll see the code. So first is on the submit button, click. Okay. So first is we have to generate a cookie for unique ID, which will have the unique ID. Okay. So cookie object we are creating. Name is there, XML cookie. Okay. So we are checking if it is null. Sorry. First is we are retrieving, if there is already cookie, we are retrieving it. If it is null, then we are actually creating the cookie, and this is the name. And this, what we are using here is system.guid.newGUID. It creates a unique ID. This class GUID and the method newGUID create a unique ID. This is method which I am using just for the demonstration. In practical world, you will have some specific algorithm which you can use to generate unique ID. You can have anything like unique ID you will generate with something like start with the @ then some random number, end with $, something like this, some number. So any algorithm you can use. Just for the demonstration, I am using this class to create a unique ID. Okay. So my cookie is created here, and the value is set with the unique ID. Okay. Now corresponding to this ID, I have to save the data which user types in as the information in the XML file. Okay. So cookie expiration is set and add to the collection. Now set user info. This is another method in which I am passing the value of this cookie, which is the ID. Because with that ID, I have to save the information in the XML. Okay. So in the set user info, if you will see, this is the path which I am getting, server.map path, request.application path. So it is basically the root folder, the application folder path here. So before saving any data, what I am doing is I am calling get user data function. So get the data, whatever data is already there, it fetches the data and save it in the data set. Okay. So basically it is reading data which is already there in the XML into a data set. So in this method is returning data set. And what data set? After reading data from the XML file. Okay. So again, XML file is in the root folder, so I'm setting a path here, not hard coding it. Okay. Create a data set object. Okay. Now to read from the XML file, first we have to call read XML schema method and provide the path of your schema file. Then read XML method and provide the path of your XML file. Okay. So in this data set, you will have the data in the same schema which your XML file is following. So in the XML file, you have this name, then city, and then ID. So the same schema will be in your data set. So far, is it clear, guys? Any question, any queries with this code? Is it clear how to read from XML file? How to fetch data from XML file to your application side? Okay, so I'll move on. So again, I'm repeating it. To fetch data from application into the dataset. Dataset object has two methods. So first we have to call this read XML schema method and then read XML method, and provide the corresponding XML schema files and the XML files. It will read the data into the dataset. Okay. Why I am first reading the data here? I want to save the data, but I am first reading the data because when this new ID is generated, first I want to recheck that with that ID there should be no record already in the XML file or in the database. Okay. So for that, first I am fetching whatever is there. Then I will see if this ID already exists there or not. If this does not exist, then I will go ahead and add the records corresponding to that ID. Okay. So now all the data from the file is fetched here in this data set. Now what I want to do is, sorry, I want to query on the rows of data set using the find method. Rows collection in the data set has find method in which you can pass unique ID. Okay. So with this value, it will find if this, with this value, if some record exists or not. Okay. And whatever you pass in the find method, it should be the key column of the dataset table. Okay. So in this case, what is my key column? ID. It is the key in the XML, but so far it is not key column in the dataset. I want to make this column as a key column in the dataset. So this is how you can achieve it. So column 6, okay, dot unique is true. Okay, and set the primary key property of your dataset table with this column, with this data column. Okay, so 2 steps to make the ID column as unique in the dataset table. Okay, is it clear? So with these 2 steps, the ID is the unique key. Now you can pass the value user ID, which is the unique key which we generated and saved in the cookie. You are passing and you are checking with this value if some record exists or not. It find methods return you the row with this value. Okay. So if the row is null, that means with this value there is no record in the data set. Okay, it is checking in the data set, not in the XML. Okay. So if there is no row with this record or with this ID key which we saved in the cookie, then we will go ahead and save that record in the XML. And how to do it? So the similar way which we use in the radio.NET, first you have to add a row here in the data set. Okay, so first how to add a row in the data set? Create a new row, add the values in the columns. Okay, so whatever the user types in, I am adding to the columns. Now add this row to the rows collection. Okay, so this new row, let's say I had in XML, I had only 1 record. Now here the second record also has been added. Okay, now this has been added in the data set till this line of code. Okay, now when you call this write XML method, pass your path of XML file, the newly updated or added row will be added to the XML file. Okay, so here I am writing to this XML file. Getting it, guys?
I mean, it is similar to the processing transaction there we stored as a key pair value, like the ID.
So you are saying it is similar to processing transaction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. It's not similar to processing transaction, but it is similar to ADO.NET. In ADO.NET, what you did, you fetch data from database to the data set. Here you are fetching data from XML to data set.
Data, okay.
Okay, so it is like a database communication, but instead of saving our data in database server, we are saving our data in XML.
XML, okay. Instead of database, we are using XML.
We are saving the data in the XML. Whenever in application we have a small amount of data, you don't have many tables, you have 1 or 2 tables. So you can use XML files as well. And you know that you are not going to have many records, and you will have 2-3 records. So you can use XML. You don't have to use the different database.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now I'll execute this. We'll see how the execution happens. I'll put a breakpoint here. I'll get user data, set user data. Okay. Okay. This is the form. Now here I enter some data which will be saved on the XML file, but the corresponding ID which we will generate will save in the cookie. That's what we want to do, right? So I'll just pass something, let's say test or test 1, because I've already used test somewhere. Test 1. What are these columns for? First name, last name, city, state, zip. Okay. Zip, I will save something like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Click on submit. So you can see we are creating. Okay, this XML cookie is already there. I will see this cookie object. So you can see this is the value, okay, which is default generated with this, not default generated, sorry, with this new GUI method generated. This is the value of the cookie ID. So this is ID of our data now. Now with this ID, we want to save the data in the XML. Now this is saved, already saved on the in the cookie, only the ID. Now the left part is we have to save the data in the XML with this cookie. So we are passing this value here. You can see this is the ID passed here. Now this is the root folder of the application. Again go to the get user data, which will retrieve the information from this file into this data set. Now in this data set you got the whatever data is there. Now making the data set 6th column, or actually the 7th column, because it starts with the index 0. 7th column, which is the ID as the unique key. And now you can use the find method on this key. So this is saying the row is null. That means with this key there is no row exist in this data set. Okay. So go ahead and create a new row. Add it to the database rows collection and update this row to the XML. Okay. Now we are using user info.xml file. Now you will see in the user info.xml file, you see this new record, and you can see this is the ID. Okay, specific to this record. ID we generated, and this ID is also saved in the cookies. The cookie name is the XML cookie. Okay, so you can see this is the ID, the value of the cookie. Okay, so with this method, we are saving user information, but not directly in the cookie, but saving the identification key in the cookie, and actual information we are saving it in the server for the more security purpose. Okay. Clear, guys? Any question, any doubt? Anyone, any question? Now when you develop login page in your classified application, that's where you can use of this cookie concept. So you will have a user ID and password. So make a checkbox also remember password. So on that remember password checkbox, if it is checked, then on a button click, create a cookie object and save it on the machine. Okay. Just for the sake of it, you can just do this saving without encryption. Just save the password like that only. Just for the practice of these cookies. Okay. Guys, are you getting it or is there any question? Is it difficult or simple?
Looks like simple maybe, but when we are using in real time, then
yeah. See, if you do even a simple example on your own, then you will be comfortable. Then you will think that it is really simple.
okay.
So ultimately, we are not doing many things. Just it is a creation of an object and setting the properties. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. But practically, we have to think when we are doing a project. We have to come up with where we should use cookies and where we should not. That is the main thing.
Okay.
Because state management can be done with several means, with the session state variables, application state variables. So this is the main thing, what method you should use.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next is, I think cookies is over. So this is this is all about cookies. Then we'll start with the web services. In the next class, we'll start with the web services. Okay.
Okay, Tanvi.
Okay, so we'll see you guys Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay, thank you everyone. Bye.
Okay, Tanvi.
Yeah,
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Hello? Yeah, bye.
Yeah, Shobana.
Hi, yeah, now it, I think
Yeah.
it installed successfully, then I think I want to restart, no?
Yeah, you should restart, Shobana.
Okay, fine. And one
Restart
more thing,
and check. Yeah,
okay,
Shobana.
in that I have installed actually .NET is 2012 VS Express for web, but you said no, if it is 2010 it will be comfortable. So I tried to install that 2010, but it is
It will not let you. So you.
it will not let me. Okay, I want to uninstall that 2012.
Yes, 2012 you will have to uninstall. Then you will have to install 2010.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay then.
Otherwise, just work with 2012, Shobana.
Oh, yeah, but actually I worked with 2010, but I'm feeling somewhat uncomfortable in 2012.
Okay. Then you uninstall it.
Okay, fine. Okay, Tanvi.
Okay.
Hi,
Thank
Tanvi.
you.
Yeah, Kirti.
Tanvi, can anyone share me today's and yesterday's like recording to me? Because I couldn't listen to them properly. Like,
Yeah. Ravikant will do so. Ravikant, are you here?
Yes.
I will email him. Kirti. Okay.
It's there in the same location where normal I keep them.
I guess I don't have them. So if you can just send me the link once, then it would be really great.
Kirti, right?
Yeah, kirtih.net@gmail.com.
Okay.
Okay, Ravikant, you are keeping all the recording in that same place itself?
Yes.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, Ravikant.
Kirti, can you, if you can send me a mail, then I will add you to that list probably if you're not able to access it.
It is KEERTHI h.net, a dot and then NET @gmail.com.
Okay. Yeah.
Shobana, actually I was thinking that you have 6 months of experience.
No, I'm 6 years experience.
That is why I was pestering you, even though I shouldn't do that.
Oh, it's okay, no problem. The thing is, my kid is not allowing me to do work. Even to attending the class itself, I am doing something to him. I am engaging him, something like that. I am attending the class.
Oh, that's great, great.
Yeah, he is 2 years old, and he is very naughty actually.
We can hear his voice.
Yeah, yeah, right. So I'll try to do assignment. I'll try. Okay.
Sure, no problem. Sure, take your time.
Yeah.
Problem.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah.
Okay, guys. I'll see you on Tuesday. Bye bye.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
The organizer has ended the session, and this